All right, we're back. Special request day. We're actually going to talk about weather stripping on windows and doors because we had a special request for it. We'll be back right after this.
Here I come to save the day.
The Mighty House crew is on the job. This is
Mighty House.
All right, we're back, and we're going to be talking about weather stripping. Special request for that because previous episode we talked about weather stripping here and there a little bit. So we're going to tie that all together and really get into a little more detail of how to weather strip your windows and doors and what are the options there. So before we do that, click on that bell, click on that subscribe button, and leave us a note below. Tell us how stupid we are. And here we go. First up, what do we got going? We're going to have to, how do we know we have drafty windows besides just walking up and feeling it?
It's really easy to determine if your house is drafty and you do need some new weather strips. So, in the previous episode, when we were talking about, fall things to do to get ready for winter, so I tied that whole thing up now.
Nice little bow.
Yeah, that little bow. Yep. So we were talking about that. We mentioned weather strip. And one of the things you said is, just close the door or close the window and look for light around it. If you see light, air is definitely getting through there.
Yep.
But another way to do it is just close the door on a windy day and take an incense stick and just go around the door. And you'll see the smoke change direction. If you start seeing that, drafts.
Right.
Check behind window casings, not just around the window, but check the back side of the window casing. And then, like you said, above the window casing, because nobody ever gets on a ladder up there.
Nope.
But, this goes back to years ago when we all installed windows incorrectly because we didn't know any better. We used to put windows in and we'd take pieces of fiberglass insulation and we'd put it in all around the window.
Sure.
I've learned all we've done is put in beautiful air filters.
Right.
But you're still going to have all this air leakage.
Doesn't have any dirt in it anymore. So that's good.
Yes. So just go around with the incense sticks and check that. You want to make sure that everything is good. And these little tricks or these little types of weather stripping will save you a ton of money over the winter.
Sure.
So
let's
jump right into it.
You can also obviously just caulk a lot of that stuff in there. So where the casing meets the wall, throw some caulk in there. If you've got any drafty areas there where you can't get a piece of weather stripping in, if it's a painted surface, caulk it. And then that way, that'll help cut those drafts down.
Well, and you can use color match caulk. You got stain trim or dark painted, whatever. You can get color match caulk.
Or clear.
You may not find it at a box store, but if you go to a siding supply house, they usually have 40 different colors. You'll find something close.
That's exactly it.
Because it's not about insulation, it's more about air sealing.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, again, we sound like broken records. It's not that we don't insulate our homes. It's just that we make sure they're air sealed prior to insulating because you're talking about two different types of physics.
Sure, exactly.
And don't leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, that's another episode. There you go. See, we're just coming up with ideas here.
Yes. All right. So the first one, and probably the easiest to use, is your adhesive backed foams.
Right there. See, you peel that little thingy off there, you slap it on there, boom, done.
Yeah. So, if you've got an old casement window, if you've got an old door, and it's got a rapid jam or it has a stop, which is what the door hits, that's called the stop.
Right.
If it doesn't have a stop, but it has a thicker jam on the outside than the inside, that's considered a rapid jam. That might be what you would use. You would just take measure the gap from the door to the stop, and then get something a little thicker than that so that when you close the door, you're compressing that.
Right. So this one's 3/4 by, looks like 7/8 or 7/16. What's that?
7/16.
7/16.
Okay. There you go.
I'm 1,400 miles away and I can read that.
I can't see that from here. My glasses aren't as good as yours, I guess.
Apparently. All right. But the foam weather strip, and that you could use at, say, the bottom of a double hung window, but you can't use that on the sides of a double hung window. You can't use it on something that slides because you'll just tear it up.
Correct.
So at that, stick on is for something to be compressed.
Yes. And it works great. It does a great job. So
absolutely. Used it on my old Dodge.
There you go.
Well, they work. You close the door, no more water came in.
Boom, done.
All right.
Next.
There you go. How about V-shaped?
There you go, like that.
Yeah. That's probably the most common that you're going to see on, I'd say, exterior doors from the last 15, 20 years easily.
Yep.
That's an adhesive backed
Yeah,
V shape.
the adhesive's on the bottom here. So you would stick that
So
on
let me move over here.
Yep.
So right about here,
Yep.
no,
Right
here,
yep.
there
Go
would
ahead, Mr.
normally be a little
Weatherman.
spline.
Yeah.
So there's that spline, there's some, and that is actually goes into the rabbited part of the jamb on a newer door.
Mm-hmm.
But if the store doesn't have that, you can use that adhesive type. And same thing, when you close the door, it compresses all of that and it keeps the air from coming in.
And if you have larger gaps though between it, that's why it's shaped like that. So it'll scrunch in other areas and not so much in other areas. In the meantime, it's sealing the whole thing all the way around. So if you have a really bad, uneven, poorly insulated door, weather strip door, this may be the option for you.
Does that point?
Well, and where you see that
in
again
or out?
is old homes with beautiful front entry doors, you know, mahogany, oak, and the doors are beautiful. The jambs are actually beautiful, but they were hand built by carpenters 80 years ago.
Sure.
So that's where that comes in handy, is for those old doors that they never had that. That's the house breathe. Remember, house has to breathe.
Right. So this part where it scrunches together would be up against something else. So that this edge here, this rounded edge, is the part that you would see.
Okay.
So you're going to push it back in there so that the wider part is back inside the jamb.
So it points into the door.
Right. So
Yes.
as the door closes, it'll push on this side right here, and it'll collapse it into it.
Okay.
And it can also slide, because that corner of the door is going to slide across that surface. And if you've got it faced the other way, it'll push that out of the way.
Okay.
Clear as mud?
Yeah. Yeah, I know what I'm getting.
Yeah. All right, good.
Yeah. Okay. And then prior to this, that same 80-year-old door that I talk about, most of them had metal strips.
Yes.
And you could actually, yes, those copper strips.
Those, you know how many of those I've cut my hands on trying to make them work again?
Well, whoever told them they had to nail them every inch?
Uh-huh.
So
See,
that's
but
the problem.
He's got a
So
little
it's-
spacer block there too to make sure that it's every inch that he's getting a nail.
And I don't know about you, but these hooves
Uh-huh.
don't hold those nails well. So
No.
to me, it's a pair of needle nose pliers and a starter hammer.
Yep.
And the thing is, if you have a historical home or you don't have huge climate differences, what I mean by that, like, you know, in Chicago, it's 150-degree temperature swing between summer and winter, you know, high to lows. Most parts of the country where I'm at, it might be 30 degrees.
Right.
We might get the odd day, but that's a day or two.
Right.
So, you know, San Diego, this is fine.
Sure.
And they look great.
Yeah.
They really do add a little something.
Yeah.
But
And this happens to be on a window. You can see the rope right there on the window weights, but that goes on the window, and you can put that on double hungs so it slides nice back and forth across there also. And then it stays nice and clean. The copper will stay there. It doesn't wear out over time, and does a great job.
yeah.
So the other
then-
thing you can do is a brad pusher. I don't know if you tried that. Have you ever tried
No,
So you put the
no.
little nail in the brad pusher, you put it up there and go pop, and it'll go through the copper. And you're
I
done.
did it. Well, I didn't use a brad pusher, but I did make a piece. I was doing jam extensions on a job.
Yeah.
I'm going off the rails here.
Sure.
But the jam extensions are deep enough where there's no way to get a nail started in there. So I went to the hardware store and I got brass tubing and brass rod
Uh-huh.
long enough where I could put the nail in there, set that in there, and just tap the nail in using the brass.
Oh, there you
and
go.
you can never overdrive it because it was brass. And it was like,
Yeah.
how much it made my life so much easier.
Excellent. See, there you
And
go.
then I'm done with that job, and I have no idea whatever happened to that brass tubing.
Sure. You're done. It served its purpose.
Yep.
Okay, next
All
up.
right. Spray foams.
Great stuff.
It is good stuff.
No, wrong. It's great stuff. That's
No, when
what
they're a
it says.
sponsor, it's great stuff. Right now, it's just
great
good stuff.
It's not good. It's great.
Where's that eyesight now?
See?
Now, great stuff does work. So it looks like you got, there's a sill plate, a mud sill right on
Yep.
top of the foundation. And, you know, we always used insulation and so on, you know, like the fiber mesh or the foam. But the problem is you get a variation thicker than what you're putting down, and you start getting a lot of air leakage. So great stuff. When they came out with that expanding foam, it was great, and we started using it everywhere.
Right.
And then we started screwing up windows and everything with it.
Right.
So they came out with minimally expanding foam for windows and doors.
And I think that's this one right here. That's the window. That's
Yeah.
the blue can.
And then they came out with the one that the mice and rodents don't like chewing on. So that's the rodent stop.
That's the orange one right there.
All right. And then they actually have another one for large gaps, like 2 inches and larger.
That's this one right here.
So
And then
crazy.
And then they have the standard.
Well, and the standard is what you'd use for most places. And again, like that mud sill he's doing, the standard actually worked fine there.
Right.
But in that picture, it's a little misleading. When you think you have enough in there, you have too much.
Yes.
And I will give you a tip. It's easier to let it cure and scrape it off than it is to smear it when it's wet. Don't
Yep.
touch it wet. Let it do its thing. No matter how bad you screwed up, put too much in there, let it dry.
Right. Right.
Because then you can cut it off, scrape it.
Now, to apply
Otherwise,
this to
it
what
smears.
we're talking about, windows and doors, if you have a lot of large gaps, you may want to pull the casings off of the windows, pull the casings off the doors, and then you go in there with the window and door foam, and I put one bead in there, and then I let it expand, and then come back in 10, 15 minutes and see. Then I'll put a second bead in there, and it takes a little bit of time to do it that way, but that way you don't introduce foam into it.
Well, and the other thing is
squeeze
on
your
the
door and
older,
windows,
like,
you
let's say your house is 20 years old.
Mhm.
That's going to be one of them I screwed up.
Yeah.
That's going to be one that, we put the fiberglass insulation around the window because
Sure.
that's what we were taught to do 25, 30 years ago.
Right.
So take the casing off, take a cotter key puller, anything with a hook on it, and pull all that fiberglass out.
Yep.
And then go around it with the foam. A couple of times around, like Ron says, be a world of difference.
Yes, it will make a difference. And if you're repainting the room anyway, that's the time to do it. Go ahead and
Yeah.
pull the casings off because you will have to repaint if you're pulling the casings off. But that way you can get in there, go all the way around. You can put caulk behind it underneath if there's anything where there's like tight gaps where you can't get the foam in. You can caulk and seal that, put all your casing back on, and that will make a big difference. And make sure you use the window and door because if you use the other stuff, it can actually expand too much and it'll push and tighten up the window or the door to where it doesn't open or close anymore. So
Exactly.
you want to make
so
sure
the
you're
window
using
and
the right
doors are
product.
minimally expanding.
Right,
So that's definitely the right product for that choice.
right. There you go.
So-
Okay.
And then what you got next there, sir?
Ah,
A
outlets.
puzzle.
This is
It's-
a gasket for behind
Is that a
your
one for all?
Yes. So you can pick a switch. You can horizontal switch. You've got the round ones for 220 outlets. You've got the rectangular one in here for your Decora outlets or
Decoras?
switches.
Hmm.
Yeah. Or you can use that same cutout for your duplex outlets. So this one gasket you can buy, and then you can put that behind the cover plate on your outlets, that any exterior walls and your switches, because a lot of times those don't have any insulation behind them. They insulated real nice all the way around the box, but behind that box is open. There's holes in there. There's wires coming in and out of it, and that's where all the air can come in. So
So that makes me think of like Mount Greenwood, Beverly area,
yep,
where they added the porch lights out, the front door light.
yep,
So they have a piece, either greenfield or even conduit that goes right from outside down to that switch.
yes,
And you can put your hand there and feel the air blowing in that light switch.
right. So if you're in the
That
Chicago area,
Will slow it down.
Yeah.
And
so if
And
you're in
they're
the,
cheap.
if you're in the Chicago area and you have conduit, which that's the way we would do things. They actually make duct putty, and you can push putty up inside the pipe there to stop that draft also. And on exterior boxes, we'll do that a lot, just to
I thought you
seal
just
that up.
spray foam those.
No, no, you don't want to glue the wires in the pipe. No, that's no good.
Okay, no spray foam.
No spray foam. No. I use
Duct putty.
Yeah, or silly putty if you want to use silly putty. Silly putty's fine too. It's the same thing.
Anything that's removable as opposed to foam and filled in glue.
Correct.
Purple Play-Doh.
All right, just
Purple
wanted to
Play-Doh.
clarify that for
Yep.
the for the viewers.
That's exactly it. So you can put these up, and it will make a difference all the way around. Because you don't want to caulk and seal up, paint up the outlet covers to the wall. because that creates other issues later on down the road when you have to.
You mean
actually
change
get it.
orders for the electrician because the paint flaked when he had to do something?
That's right, and you score it, and
Yeah.
it's a mess. So don't.
I'm not arguing that.
Don't take
All
your
right.
out covers off.
So the last point we'll make before we move along to next week,
yes,
another show. Any type of adhesive weather strip, actually, no matter what kind of weather strip it is, whether it's adhesive or you nail it 1 inch apart, or even these foam gaskets,
yeah,
make sure that both surfaces are clean. You're minimizing their effectiveness if you have lumps, chunks, bumps. What else we got? Squirrels.
squirrels. Yeah, anything
So-
you want to if it doesn't seal. But if you have like a brick surface where you have that outlet cover on there, you might need to stack 2 or 3 of those foam gaskets up to get it to seal and seat properly on there. So, you know, there's weird things like that. Don't we have one more? Look at that. Money going out the window. Just like that.
That's
So
what we're trying to stop.
we're going to close that window and stop that money from going out the window and keep it in your pocket.
What makes you think that money's going out? Because the draperies are blowing in.
Ooh, so that's money coming in the house. Is that what you're saying?
That's what it looks like because the drapes are blowing the wrong way.
Yeah, because the drapes will be blowing out.
Sonar,
with
is
the
that
money.
picture backwards? Can you flip it around?
Can you invert that?
What, the drapes?
So that
Of course, then the drapes would be outside.
See, the drapes would be going out with the window. Rich has got a great point there. I don't think you can. Can you do that?
Well, we get our point. It's money going out the window. That's what we're trying to save you here with these tips on weather stripping.
Correct. That was the whole
So
idea.
if you liked this, or if you think that window is correct, hit the comments below. What do you think about this window?
There you go. I think it's the concept is good, but it didn't work. So
The artiste might have been off a touch
yeah, that's right. He should have showed the curtains going out with the money.
with the money.
That's right. So there you
There
go.
you go.
All right. Well, hopefully that helps you out, and you can tighten up your house a little bit and create some other problems by sealing your house too tight. And we can
Yes,
talk
we'll
about those.
talk about that in another show.
That's right. That'll be air sealing. Wait, no, we've done that. I'm pretty sure.
No, it's ventilation, proper ventilation.
Proper
Ashray
ventilation.
62.
Oh, got it. There we go. Well, we'll go get our buddy Allison to come in and talk to us about that
Absolutely.
stuff. There you go. Okay. So until next time. No, that's not how you do it, is it? No.
Wait.
Keep
Yeah.
it square and level.
Until next
Until
time.
next
Until
time.
next time. There it is. I think we need to change that. So I could say, until next time, and we all say keep it square and level.
Oh, okay. I like
Maybe we
That's what I
That
thought you were
seems more
going to do.
natural.
You actually lost me for a second there. Like, I thought that was how we do it.
I was convincing with it either way.